Hey guys, it's your boy Kingxley here. Welcome back to a new video. On this video, as you see on the title, it says how to obtain success. And I will talk about the preparation for the new upcoming Formula One season. On my last video, I was talking about how did I find motivation in Formula One. It was a two-part video, so part one and part two. I was talking about some of the things that motivated me in Formula One, different aspects. I was talking about specific races and stuff like that. And on this video, I'm just going to talk about how to prepare for the new F1 season. So now, as we're talking now, we are in mid-February. There are new Formula One cars that's been released all this week, and the reason why I make this video is because as part of the changes that is coming to the sport in Formula One in 2022, we have new cars that are like new design cars, things that we never have had before. And what's important is that the people that make the sports, or the people that do the rules in Formula One, that are in charge of making the sport better and more attractive, the plan for this year was to make changes into the rules to make closer racing. So that's what they want. That's what they will be working towards. They want closer racing. So then things can be more competitive. Drivers can be more competitive. Teams can be more competitive. And for us as fans of Formula One and some of the people that know this sport, we all think that this is a good opportunity for teams and drivers and people that we might not expect to come forward and to be in front, essentially. So for me, I just put myself into those shoes, into the shoes of a Formula One team or a Formula One driver that will begin the Formula One season in few months now, in few weeks, few months. And I would just want to say and just advise on how is the best way to prepare for this success. What are the things that we should consider? What are the things that we should do in order to obtain the success that we want, and just be the best that we can. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you like the video and you stay tuned for the whole video, as I'm gonna list out some of the things that I think you should be considering. So yeah, so I believe that the first thing that to obtain success, the first thing that you need to do is to do research. The reason why I say that is because in Formula One there are rules, just like in any other sports there are rules. But what's funny with Formula One is that there's a website called FIA.com. FIA is like UEFA, is the directors, is Federation International Automobile, and they list out the rules of the cars, they list out the rules of the sport, and they say exactly what teams are allowed to do and what teams should not be doing. So they just list out things like specific, like they list out the specifications for the cars, for the drivers, the rules when there's combat on track, and things like that. And so what's funny is that most engineers and most people in Formula One teams, they also know the rules. And what they do at the beginning of each year is that they read the rules within their teams. They read the rules, and the engineers, they are really smart people because their jobs is to create a car that is better than their competitors, and a car that is like a bit like smarter than other people, in terms of maybe they want to create a new invention, something that another team hasn't done before, that will make them go faster than another. And so that's exactly what you need to be doing. So in terms of, if we are to put in the perspective of Formula One, read the rules for this season, understand what you should do. So understand what you have to do, understand what you can't be doing, but then nothing stops you from inventing something that is not in the rule book, but that will that will change everything into the sport. So change everything when it comes to actual races and actual competition, because you're gonna have something that isn't in the rule book. So essentially it's allowed, and you most likely you'll be able to use what you have for a short or long amount of time, because sometimes, depending on what it is, other teams might say, but this thing that you have created is might not be allowed. So there might be, like people reporting that thing, but when it gets checked, it can easily pass the check, like you can fail the check. But if it wasn't in the rule book, this is not your fault. So I think that's the most important thing. So to put it back into context, do your research in terms of understand what you need to do to obtain the success. What is it exactly that you're looking for as a success? Understand what are the things that you can do or the things that you can't do, and from there you can work your way around the rules. So that's point number one. There are a few examples of Formula One teams doing their research. I think one of them that comes into my mind is the DAS system on the Mercedes car. I believe that was from last year or 2 years ago, so either 2020 or 2021, where they had a system that drivers used to push or pull their steering wheel, and that was changing the front tires, like the orientation of the front tires using the suspension. So that's just one of the things that comes into my mind, because when it comes to the sport, when Mercedes introduced this system, obviously it has intrigued a lot of teams. People started to be a bit like worried about why is that, because it does look a bit scary when you have a driver pulling or pushing the steering wheel. This is not like a normal gesture to do. And but in actual fact, like the system that they created was completely allowed. It was not something that was in the rule book, but obviously that gave her like we can say like an unfair advantage to Mercedes compared to the other teams. So the year after, they just basically they were not allowed to use this system anymore. But obviously they were able to use this system throughout the season. So that's what I was alluding to when I said do your research. So point number two is to prepare in advance. So prepare in advance is really important, because for changes that is big, sometimes we need also time to prepare for a change. I remember when the directors of Formula One first announced there were going to be a revolution in the car design and stuff. They announced it for 2021. They had to move it to 2022 due, I think, to COVID. But they also said to teams that this is, the car, like they were working on a concept of a car and stuff like that. And they did say to the teams, you need to prepare for this change, So they had a whole system of like token system, because the token system just means that the teams are not allowed to change a lot of things in the design of their car, or they have to choose wisely where do you want to improve on your car for the upcoming season, essentially. So it is something that's really long term. So I remember, if I can give you guys another example, in 2014, I said on the last video that 2014 was the year where the team Mercedes started to dominate the sport, for a long time. But the success didn't come right away. I remember that they took time, almost 1 or 2 years, before being able to use the advantage of the revolution that was at the time in 2014, and onwards, just build on the foundation that they built for the 2 previous years. So I think that's really key. When there's a big change like that, try to use your time wisely to prepare for a change. The way that you can do that is doing, as I've said, we talked about doing your research. It's about investing resources, testing things out. It's about, depending on where you want the success. Also, you need time, I feel like it's the exact same like example for like exams and stuff like that. Before an exam, you prepare for the exam in advance, few months in advance and stuff like that. And I know, for example, another example, I know like in my personal life, I had a person that was close to me that was preparing for not really an exam, but like a casting, of something where they build like a project and they need to showcase the project to some kind of supervisor that will give them like a mark later on, a few months after, and they have to build the project from scratch. It's not like a project. I'm not really talking about university project, but it's more like understanding your position, you know, when the things that you have to do, things that you should be doing, also looking at the knowledge that you have, and also an analysis on your day-to-day basis, like what do you do, all of that combined into like one document. And I remember actually it was my mom that did this, and she was preparing for this thing for a long time, a long time. And you know, it's a document that she yeah, as I said, she built it from scratch and stuff. And it took her a long time. And obviously at the end, when she did the examination, after a few months of waiting for the results was positive. So again, it's just a thing of saying that you need time to build on success. You know, you can't build success overnight. It's really like it's a process, and it's really important to enjoy the process, and really like take the time to put things, you know, into place like as best as possible. So guys, my third point to how to obtain success is a really important point. Is I just think is to protect your findings and protect yourself from others. The reason I say that is because, as you know, in Formula One, everybody has their own car. And as I was talking earlier about engineers trying to create new things, inventions, things to add it to the car to make the car faster. So that means that everybody has their philosophy, every team is a bit different, you know. And also you have to remember that sometimes in this sport, people can get their ideas wrong, people can get their car wrong, and so it doesn't work the way that it should. That means when the car doesn't work the way that it should, sometimes this point is very funny because sometimes they copy other teams, you know, because it's a human thing to do. And what's even more funnier, and to add into that, is because in Formula One, there's actually just 3 or 4 like teams that actually provide like a car engine to another team. So when that happens, like the top teams are most likely the ones that are providing the engine to other smaller teams that still work, you know, together. And so when, for example, if I'm a team that uses, I don't know, like a Ferrari engine, for example, and my car has not been designed correctly, I will copy the Ferrari concept car and I will just add it to my car. So that's why it's really important that now that it's a new season and things have been reset, everybody's starting from the same base, it's really important to protect yourself from others. You know, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, that at the moment there's car being released. What I mean by that is that the teams are releasing the new livery for the car. Some drivers, they want to show their helmet, and some of the teams also are showing the car suit, you know, the things that they will be wearing throughout the season. And so what most teams have done right now, have done when they release the car, is that they have released a concept car and they just put the livery on it. What that means they released just the base of a car with no upgrade, no philosophy, no nothing, just the base car that's, you know, provided for you, and they just put the color that they will use for the season that is to come. That means teams cannot copy each other just yet, because obviously it's like they don't know what concept car they are using. And that's why I was so keen on, you need to protect yourself from others. So when you do your research, some people, they do a lot of research, putting a lot of time, energy, effort, time, money, and all of that, and that's really good. But it's really also important to understand that you need to protect yourself from others, your competitors, because in that aspect of things, like in the sport, for example, things are really public. When cars are being tested, you know, in Barcelona and stuff like that, because obviously you have to do like car testing and stuff like that. There's a lot of photographers for teams, for their own team bring their own photographers. There's a lot of like paparazzi and stuff like that, so the media and stuff like that. And there's also teams hiring photographers to take a picture of other cars, you know, and they take pictures of everything. So you can be anything and everything is valuable to the teams to understand how did they do this. We have this problem with that. How did they do that and stuff like that? And that's why it's really important to protect your findings where you can and use them in due time, basically. So my fourth point and it's really important point, is to give your best. When you're trying to obtain success, just give your best in everything that you do. That it might be your research, that it's like give your best. Yeah, just give your best. Give your best just means like putting your effort and stuff like that, and putting effort, 100% of your effort, your energy, your commitment to that success. Because other for the moment, I'm seeing a lot of the car releases. I was talking about deliveries, and I'm seeing a lot of teams putting in like a lot of effort to showcase the not only the concept, but the lineup that they have prepared. The one that comes to mind is McLaren. McLaren is involved in not only Formula One but other motorsport things, and you can see the effort that they put in. This change that it comes to Formula One is a new opportunity for them also to change things around. So I think give your best. It's a really important point. Now I say that what's important to remember is that all I think it's really important to know that there's only one trophy. There's only one trophy to win. So obviously it's normal that there's gonna be teams and people that will not win. And I was talking about just a few minutes ago. I was talking about people getting maybe the concept wrong, teams getting the concept wrong, and things starting to copy in and stuff like that. So what comes into mind also to obtain the success is to play the long game. It can happen that things don't plan out the way that they should, but I just think playing the long game just means that trying to analyze yourself, observe yourself. I'm sure we talked about this before, but it's to take the time to take a step back on yourself and analyze where you got things wrong, because it's not easy to get things right first time. It takes a long time to understand everything, even with the amount of testing that this Formula One people can have, in the car, I think they call it wind tunnel, and all of the things that they have in their HQ. Yeah, they have all of the resources to test the car over and over again. They have a simulator and stuff like that. But yeah, you can have all of the computering, AI, machine learning things. When it comes to real life, you can have a different result. So I think playing the long game is really important, not to get eager. I think we've seen how the long game is really important also as a concept on the last video when we talked about the German Grand Prix of 2018. So I think that playing the long game when you don't have even if you have things right, but especially if you have the things wrong, playing the long game can help you just to self-critic, self-analyze, all of the PE stuff that we used to do when we were younger. So yeah, guys, so that for me rounds up everything that I wanted to talk about on how to obtain success. I think what's important also to remember is that some of the previous skills that we talked before are still valid. I think to obtain success, you also need the belief that you can do it. I feel like you need to stick with whatever you've got. Whatever concept that you decide to go for, whatever the research and stuff like that, whatever choice that you have done before. I think you need to stick with them. I think also you need to be opportunistic. That's also a thing, and I feel like anything that we talked about before, on the previous videos, just so applies to now. Obtaining success is not something that is that is done overnight. Yeah, it takes a long time to do it, and it's not. You need also a fair amount of luck. In the things that you do. We just talked about the long game. I feel like obtaining success is a long-term thing. It's not really a short-term thing, and you also need to sustain it. And there are cycles. I think for those of you that follow football, I think we talked about football on the last video. There's cycle for every team. There's cycles. Teams used to win before, now there's new teams winning now, and maybe in the future there'll be new teams winning again. So it tends to never be always the same team winning back to back to back to back to back. It can happen, obviously. I'm not saying that that's impossible, but it's not likely. So it is a cycle thing. But I believe that if you put your time and effort for whatever you've got into your mind, you can achieve it. I think for me, I can speak for myself. It has worked before when I was extremely determined, when there were specific places I didn't want to be in terms of I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm like, this is kind of being put upon me and I can't do nothing about it. I knew that I could do something about it. I was talking about this thing when I talked about defining your goal. So that's the video to check out. And I just said, you know, this is not what I want. I know exactly what I want. I wrote down what I want. Those are my goals. Those are my objectives. And then from there, I was able to work on my objectives to obtain the success that I wanted so badly. So yeah, so I think that rounds up the video for today. Just a short video on how to obtain success with talking about the Formula One 2022. And I hope you really enjoyed it. For me, if I could round up this video, is just to showcase a bit of the Formula One 2022 cars that's been released. There should be cars, you know, now appearing on the screen. You know, just a really nice livery cars. You know, there's cars that will be on the screen that hasn't been released yet, but that's the magic of editing. But yeah, there's a lot of cars that has been released that have a beautiful design, so I hope that will motivate you to watch the season that is to come. But for this video, I can't thank you guys enough for watching it. Like the video if you enjoyed it, if you found it useful. Leave a comment to make just to express yourself, to tell me what you thought about the video. How do you obtain success? What's your tips and stuff like that? You might be helping someone like me, you never know. And yeah, subscribe, and feel free also to check out my website. I have a blog. I'm posting blogs, so all the videos that I put out, there's like a summary of the video, there's like things and that I share on the blog. So do check out. All of the links are in the description. But for this one, guys, take care and goodbye.